What is up, Phantom family? It's 2026. Question for you. Have you ever heard of the CE5 contact? This is human-initiated alien contact. So you meditate and you kind of visualize where you are in the universe and you project yourself out. Sounds very far-fetched. Saw a documentary in 2020 around, and they go through the steps of trying to initiate contact with extraterrestrials. So me being who I am, I go out and I try it, and it took a while, but I actually got results. When you first start doing this, if your mind is busy like mine, you're not going to get much results. But as you start learning how to meditate and you start putting yourself in a state of mind, it would turn out that I would actually see something that I couldn't explain. And also I happened to notice that paranormal activity was starting to pick up as well. So I believe that when you actually initiate contact with extraterrestrials, it's very possible you're opening your mind beyond that. Whatever these things use to communicate with us, it almost seems like everything paranormal uses the same means for communication. In 2020, it probably took about 7 or 8 times, and I would see something. It would be like a spear-shaped thing in the sky. It would flash, almost like a camera flash, except you could tell it was coming from outer space, or at least pretty high up. And a minute or two would go by and it would flash again. So at this point, it was like flashing in the same spot. If it were a helicopter, we would hear it. If it were an airplane, we would see it. Navigation lights, contrails, we'd see everything. But I didn't see any of those things. It just was a simple flash bulb in the sky I couldn't explain, but it was coming from the same place. And I wasn't really planning on filming anything. None of this I was going to put on. I ended up doing something in 2023, October. I was doing the CE5 protocol. Nothing happens. Like normal, you know, every once in a while it happens, and it's weird when it does. Sometimes you don't know what you created or what you see, or if it's the power of imagination. But I would just do this in October of 2023. Nothing would happen. I'd go inside, and lo and behold, about maybe an hour or so before the sun comes up, I leave the house. I immediately look up and I see another spear. Now the spear is like on the other side of the horizon and it's going away from me. But the second I realize what direction it's going in, it starts coming towards me. And it's pretty far away at the time, but all I'm thinking is satellites. Maybe they can change directions that fast, I don't know. But it kind of was bigger than a star, and it's coming towards me. And when I saw it make that maneuver, I took my phone out and I started filming. Just in case it did it again, I'd catch it. But it would turn out that it wouldn't do it. It's still coming towards me. I'm starting to immediately notice this is bigger than a satellite, which we've seen satellites if you look up enough. But the only problem is, if you think about it, satellites aren't this bright. It just wasn't changing direction. It wasn't doing anything special. So I stopped recording, and as soon as I hit stop record on my phone, it kind of pulsed. It got real big. It doubled in size. Could have even tripled or quadrupled, and it did it twice. The first time I saw something, it was kind of like that. It would flash, except now it's kind of like a dim light. It's going real bright and then back, real bright and then back. Now I couldn't figure out what was going on. I knew at that point that it likely worked. It was the CE5 protocol. I did this, I went inside, and I come outside a long time after, and it's there. And so I put my phone back up and I started recording it again. So I'm still on the fence whether it's something outside of our atmosphere or inside of our atmosphere. But it doesn't flash or do anything special for the rest of the time I'm filming it, but it does do something. It does something that an airplane normally does, but it also does something that a satellite can't do. As this thing is approaching the contrail of another aircraft that had just gone by maybe a few minutes before, it goes underneath it, but it goes underneath it in a way that it casts the light, and it almost looks like it lights up the contrail. So it's that high, but it's inside the atmosphere. And now I'm thinking, If it's inside the atmosphere and it was going away from me the first time I saw it and then immediately started coming back, well, if it's doing that, there's nobody in that airplane, because they would be smashed up against the walls from all the G's from going from one direction to the other. But if it's doing that and it's inside our atmosphere, that means it's roughly going about the same speed as an airplane. So that's several hundred miles an hour. But if it's doing that, then who's flying it? Because the maneuver that I saw it do is just something you can't do. I don't care what you have. Nothing is out there that will let you go several hundred miles an hour in one direction and then back in the other direction without making a curve, without stopping and coming back. It just literally was like this. And so it goes underneath the contrail of another aircraft. Again, I wasn't even planning on putting this on the channel until maybe a week later. I saw on the way back from a store an airplane right around the same time that I filmed this a week prior. And so I stick my phone up and I record it just so I could do a side-by-side. And then it hit me. On this craft that I filmed that I cannot explain, where are the navigation lights? Where's the sound of the aircraft? Why did it seem like it was self-illuminated? How can it make those maneuvers? It's completely quiet. In the other footage, you could see the airplane. With the naked eye, you could see the shape of the airplane. You could see the navigation lights. You could see it was also leaving a contrail. But you don't ever see a spear-shaped object going across the sky unless it actually is a satellite and it is in outer space, but it's only half that size. And the camera does no justice. This thing was literally twice as bright as a star. I did just do the CE5 protocol. Every time I see something, it's always the spear-shaped object that I see. Why is it just that one? It's almost like maybe in the 50s, you get the flying saucer type things, and then all of a sudden they become flying V's and triangles, and now they're spears? Or were they always this many? We just don't talk about it as much back then as we do now. In the 50s, you didn't have any social media, so maybe people just wrote about these things. I have no idea. I can't figure out what it is or why meditations bring this to you, but it actually does work. And I highly recommend watching Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind and trying this for yourself, rather than sitting on an armchair and just saying, yeah, whatever. Go out there and try it and see what happens. Film it. I'm going to start filming more of these. I have no idea what I filmed, but also think about the guy who built in the Mojave Desert a big structure. He also meditated for aliens. They instructed him how to build some structure in the Mojave Desert in 1953. I do not remember his name, but I'm sure I can look it up. George Van Tassel. So he built a structure, said that he was in contact on a weekly basis with extraterrestrials through meditation processes in 1953. Did Stephen Greer piggyback off of that and create what this thing is when they call it the CE5 protocol? Did he invent it? I don't think he invented it, but I think a lot of people think he's a scam artist. Me, I was on the fence, but I thought I'd try it because I'm gonna go out and look for things. I'm not gonna be an armchair researcher. But it actually worked when I did it, and something showed up. And I'm wondering now how many times I've done this where I just give up, go into the house, and something shows up thinking, well, hey, where the hell you go? Maybe I was getting them way more often than I thought, because there'd be a lot of times where I would just give up and go in the house. It just didn't work that night, but possibly it did. I know other paranormal activity ramped up in the house, and I don't even live in a haunted house. I grew up in one, but I don't think anything happens here. However, it seemed like things did start happening here. So I'm starting to really wonder, is the theory of the supernatural highway actually legit? Other things use the same means of communication as extraterrestrials. Do you actually see Bigfoot? Do you see aliens? Do you see the chupacabra? Who knows? Maybe they're just other spirits in the elemental department that just play these roles because you're susceptible to seeing them. Maybe there is no Bigfoot. Maybe Bigfoot's something else. Maybe ghosts are something else. We just don't know. But I will keep doing this, and I will keep bringing it to you And you let me know what you think in the comments below about what this is. And keep in mind, there are no navigation lights, no contrail. It's sphere-shaped. We know what satellites are. We know what airplanes are. We know what helicopters are. What the hell is this? You tell me.